automatic thing changing.
Sorry.
I won't tell. Okay.
Okay, well, it is 3:36 p.m. on the 28th of January, 2026. So we are calling this as a executive board meeting to order. Um, and we do have a quorum. Another NCAC host is joining. So that does make three of us. Ah, it's Rand. Okay. Welcome, Rand. So
Well,
call it to order. We're all listed as NCAC host. Nancy, now you're listed as Nancy Vandell. So you've
I changed my name. Yeah.
wonderful.
I'll work on it.
Yeah. And I don't know if we need a parliamentarian for this, but Michael, if we do, would you be happy stepping into that?
Yeah, I already am. So yeah, we're fine.
Perfect. So for the conflict of interest, I'm Alex Clark. I'm the vice chair and functioning as the chair, and I have no conflicts.
Michael Beachley, I have no conflicts.
Randall Cook, no conflicts.
Nancy Vandell, no conflicts.
Chris Sokowski, no conflicts.
Okay, great. Thank you. And hello, Chris, from the road. So we had no executive board meeting in December. But so we have no minutes from that, but we do have minutes from the November meeting. And it sounds like most people have looked at them. If you haven't, does anyone need a minute or two to look at that one-page document?
I saw them. They look fine.
Right.
Yeah, I saw him.
Okay. Any comments or questions on that? And if no changes, we will approve those minutes.
Yeah, Chris had sent me some, and then Susan had responded. They look good, and Rand responded. They looked good. So thank you guys for reviewing it.
Yeah, they did. They looked like an accurate summary of what happened on the 19th of November, I believe. Okay, so we are jumping into Nancy, you've got some bylaw. We just had a bylaws meeting Monday, I think. Is that right? Or was that yesterday?
It was actually a week ago. Oh, it was community plan. That was Monday. We had a bylaws meeting on the 6th, I think it was. No, the 2nd, January 2nd. Sorry. It's been
starting the new year.
No, it was we had it on the 2nd, we had it on the 16th, and then our next one is February 6th because we just do the 1st and 3rd.
And we were all
sorry, I'm a little dim right now. So
and we were all sober on the 2nd.
Yes.
Wow. I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
I don't know if there's any residual there, but we were all sober.
So did you want me to start the bylaws thing, or did you have other things first?
No, that would be great if you
okay.
give us an update on the bylaws.
Okay, so we've made a lot of progress in the last few weeks, and really since we started in August. And I think we're at a point now where we're going to have our meeting on the 6th, February 6th. But at that meeting, we're going to be looking at establishing feedback sessions for later in February. And I wanted to talk with the board about whether you'd like to have a special feedback session for the executive board members like we did last year. Because a lot of it pertains more to the executive board. So I'm just gonna, if it's okay, I'm gonna go ahead and we started out thinking we weren't gonna have that much this year, but it turned out we have more than we had expected. And let me see if I can actually find the document. Hopefully you can see the action items for this year. So we're gonna turn this all into a PowerPoint that would be kind of brief, but just to let you know, some of the things that we found as we were going through the PP&R document, the policies, procedures, and reference, ended up reflecting back on bylaws. So we do have just 3 fairly minor bylaws changes. One is that we have somebody who might be willing to be secretary if that person didn't have to do minutes. We had thought, the minutes would be the easy part and all the technical part of the job of secretary would be the hard part. But she's actually, or he is actually willing to do some of the other stuff. So we just thought there's no real reason for us to. One of the key things left under the secretary responsibilities is to record the minutes. And we're suggesting changing that to ensure the recording of the minutes. Another is adding a leave of absence because, when Mark at one point was thinking about having just going on a leave of absence as opposed to resigning, we realized we didn't have that anywhere in the bylaws. And so it seems like a simple fix to have a leave of absence. And so we put that wording in the proposal. It would become a part of a vacancy of office, but it would be, allow somebody to back out if they have an illness or they, for some reason, need to step away for a while. And then voting, we do have a couple of things about voting that we're going to recommend changing, and I can go through that if you'd like. But back when we passed the policies and procedures last year, we had a number of things we just didn't have time to go through, and we had said to come. We will be doing that. So as we have gone through and written information about voting, we have found that there were a couple of things that reflected back on bylaws. They're pretty minor. But one was that the bylaws currently say that voting needs to be done by Zoom polling or roll call voting. And we're finding now that things have, that in most cases, votes are not controversial and they're pretty unanimous. So we've put in language in the bylaws to allow for that, that we could just go, depending on what the chair wants to do of the meeting, that we could just have a raised hands or voice vote. And then in the policies, procedures, and reference, we have very detailed information on the different options for voting and how they should be done in different cases. So we would go through that in the feedback session. So those are the three bylaws change areas. And then in the PPR, the ones in black are ones we're still working on and should have done by February. So one is, welcome, Tom Swipe is here, our illustrious editor. So one is to add an introductory description on how to use the PPNR at the beginning of the document. That came up at our last meeting, and Tom and Wyatt Angelo are going to work on that. And then updating the contact list for a description of Nesco and Friends Facebook page and the NCA. Susan's working on that. We're still needing to tackle the NCAC archives, and we're going to be talking with Sarah about joining us on how we do that, because the county is supposed to have the archives. So where she needs to be involved with anything we write about how we archive, because we have to archive all of our stuff right now and are. One thing we may or may not do, but is we kind of wanted to talk to you guys to see if it might be helpful, would be to have templates for agendas, minutes, treasurer's reports, and other regular documents, so that somebody new coming in would have some easy way of how to create those documents. So the stuff that we've done now is we've set up executive board emails in the references section, but we still need to actually set them up in progress. So in practice. So Candace ran up with an email address for the community plan document. And Ren, I was going to follow up with you to see if you needed any assistance on how to actually make that work. But we'd like to do it with all of the officer and actually executive board member positions, so that one of the main reasons for that is that if, according to Sarah, if there's ever a demand for our emails in some controversial kind of a thing, and that the county agrees with that, we could actually have some kind of a subpoena for our emails. So it would behoove us to have a separate email for our offices so that they don't go into our personal emails to get the information. So that's kind of a motivating factor for that. Plus, it just looks a little more official. And so as somebody would move from one position to another, their email would move with that person. But there's just some work to be done to get that set up. So we set up the bylaws committee, subcommittee email back when I first started, and I've been using that. It works well. So fleshing out the job descriptions is something we really want to go through with each of you. I was going to contact each of you and send out the job descriptions that we had put into the references, because that was another thing that we didn't really do last year as much, to see if you have any input for those your job descriptions or any other people's job descriptions. We've had something come up. I think it came up in the membership meeting or I guess last executive board meeting too, about social media policy and procedures. So I have a meeting set up with Sarah to go through this and some other kinds of things. But we did go ahead as a subcommittee and draft some social media policies and procedures that are very, very limited, mainly to things about announcing meetings and that kind of thing. But of course, we'd have to get that approved by the board, the membership, and more importantly, Sarah. The voting procedure is done. The procedure for notices and information about agendas is done. So we found that the bylaws don't say anything about agendas being included in notifications about a meeting, notices about a meeting, but the policies and procedures do say that the bylaws do say that. So we're Robert's rules doesn't require an agenda to be finalized anytime before you would normally put the agenda out when you announce the meeting, but it can be updated even up to and including a meeting itself. So that flexibility is important as things change before a meeting. The only difference is for special meetings, you can only talk about what's been noticed in an agenda with that kind of notice of a 14-day or 7 days. We fleshed out, well, actually, I think the NCAC, requests to the NCAC and straw polls have been edited by our editor to not have bullet point and flow chart kind of things. And it's more written in English, Tom, so thank you. So not a lot of new material in there. We've added neighborhoods for the emergency plan to our references map, and I think Tom's also bringing that over to the community plan. We're cleaning up task force job descriptions for outreach and monitoring. There's been some reformatting of the document. Some things have, Tom has moved some things that were procedures into policies and vice versa, and some things back to references. So it makes, I think, a little more sense than initially about how that's organized. We put in recommended qualifications for subcommittee and task force members, and we've changed the procedure to include officers. I'm not sure what that is. I'm going to have to include. Yeah. So anyway, that's done. We've fleshed out what OPML, Oregon Public Meeting Law procedures are, and we've expanded what to do if a quorum is not met. What can we do? What can be done? And revisiting decisions. This was something Sarah had asked for. What do you do with motions to reconsider short-term or a motion to rescind or amend something previously adopted? Because this happened in a different CAC where years later, they came back with a motion to change something that was actually quite important. So these are the things that we have to, the actual document is now on, I believe you may be working on version 13, Tom. I mean, 14, 13's out there. But you can go into any of our meeting folders and we have the document, the latest version of the document. And so I'll send that out to all of you just so that you can see it. We're not going to go through that in this meeting today. But we do have everything that is different from the original document that was approved last year is in green, and you'll see a lot of green. And everything that is still under discussion is highlighted in red or some other color, depending on what you see in it. But there's quite a bit of changes in there. But we think that in the feedback sessions, we were planning, I have some tentative dates to discuss with the subcommittee at our next meeting, but a Tuesday night and a Saturday morning, kind of like we did last year, with the same material at each. It's just people would have an opportunity to come if it's more convenient for them in an evening and then a Saturday morning. And then, because we do have so much, we would like to have a special membership meeting to adopt the updates, the amendments to the bylaws and the amendments to the policies, procedures, and references document. And we're thinking Saturday, March 14th. It's the second Saturday of March because it's kind of an off month, and it would be convenient to get that done. And then we would be basically done by the end of the year. So we do need, definitely need and want to have all of your input as we go forward. We want the membership input as we go forward, and we need Sarah's input. So I do have a session set up with Sarah to go over that briefly with her, and then we'll hopefully have a follow-up. But I guess I'd like to propose that we have this special meeting on March 14th that we could then announce in the membership meeting in February. You're muted, Alex.
Yeah. Tom has his hand raised. Tom, you have a...
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify a little bit about our tracking. We're a little limited by our tools. So when I move things around, they aren't indicated as being moved around. And there are some things which have been replaced, and we have the green rather than what was replaced with, makes for better readability. So it's a bit of a compromise in terms of a full-scale audit trail, but it is pretty accurate in terms of meaningful things that changed.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. I think it's going to be easy for people to see, and because it's not bylaws, I don't know. We're going to have to ask Sarah whether the PP&R changes are going to have to go through the attorney. She'll probably say yes, but if so, then we'll actually have to do a red line, which I know we'll talk to him, but because that's going to be, yeah, I know. Hopefully he won't care about that. I don't think he's ever technically approved those first ones, so maybe we'd be okay just presenting this one. The bylaws one, though, will need an actual red line, but those are pretty minimal changes in the bylaws. So are there any, so let me just throw it out. Are you willing to do a special feedback session for the executive board? And if so, could we set a time? So let me pull up my agenda for that meeting.
Nancy, do you remember how, I know we had separate calls with you for all the board members when we were going through bylaws. For this feedback executive board session, do you anticipate it being a longer meeting, or is this something that we should tack on to an executive board meeting?
I've kind of been going back and forth on that, Alex. I think it depends on how much other stuff you have. I think we could have it as an executive board meeting addendum if people were willing to be there for. I think this part of it would probably take an hour, maybe not that much. We kind of ran through. You heard the topics,
yep.
And I could send out the draft ahead of time so you have a chance to read it. But an hour might be more than we would need. I don't know. Tom and Michael, what do you think?
Well, I think if they perused it beforehand, an hour is plenty of time.
I agree.
Yeah. The one thing I wanted to add, if I may, Nancy, is that as we look at this document that we've created, this monster that we've created, we've sort of agreed that a little précis might be created by us that helps people understand what it is without having to go through the entire thing. That would, because who's going to sit down and go through pages upon pages of policies and procedures and so on, so that they can get right to it. I think you mentioned part of that, didn't you, Nancy?
Yeah, with the introduction that Tom and Wyatt are writing.
But a short and very shortened version of what this document or these documents are all about and how they might be used is really an important addition.
And let me clarify a little bit why we have three different kinds of things. We have policies. Those are meant to be guidance for people who are, such as officers, who are making decisions.
Yeah.
And these are things that are pretty close to rules. Procedures are just how you do things. And it's unlikely that anybody who's not going to do that thing is ever going to look at that, and that's okay. And the references is just good information materials. Ideally, it would be on a website and it would be refreshed, quite often. But we don't have a place for that right now. So that's kind of the placeholder for good information for people who are, want to find out about things such as, the mailing and the email address for the fire department, for instance, and lots of different things. So basically, people who are officers should look at the policies pretty closely. People who are just casually interested could kind of lightly scan them and then concentrate on knowing what's available in terms of references. So I don't think it'll be a heavily used document by most people, but some people will use it a lot.
Right. I think mainly for the board. But thank you, Tom. That's a good summary there. I don't know what's happened in my video. I'm trying to figure it out, but I'm not seeing any video. Well, I don't know. Anyway, I don't know why I decided.
I think also, the thing about, geez, went right out of my mind. How about that? Holy
That's
crap.
cute.
Yeah. See, Alex, that's what happens when you get to be 80. It really does happen.
I don't know what's going
Go
on with my
sideways.
video, but
Oh,
good
I
God.
know what I
Nancy's
know.
gone sideways on
Yeah,
us.
Nancy's on-
Even more than usual.
Yeah, I remember what it is that Nancy, that's really cute, by the way. Oh, there you go.
There we are.
God.
Flipping out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'm
Oh, the
getting
thing-
bored of my own topic here, but
Yeah.
yeah.
The thing about templates is, I think, a really pretty slick deal, because not only does that give people who don't have the experience something to use, but it also creates a consistency over the years of use.
Yeah.
So that, we know beyond our tenure in these positions that the history is the same throughout the whole thing, based on, how things go.
So getting back to the feedback session, would you prefer to have that at our next executive board meeting, or the dates for the feedback sessions that I'm thinking of and have not discussed it yet with the committee, but most of the committee's here, would be, the first one would be Tuesday, February 17th, which would be after our membership meeting, and Saturday, February 21st. So that same week. And then that gives us time to kind of do any modifications we need before our bylaws subcommittee meeting on March 6th. And then on March 14th, and we'd have another bylaws subcommittee meeting on March 13th. And then on March 14th in the morning, we would have at 9:30, we would have that special membership meeting. So what do you all think? Are you willing to just have a longer executive board meeting in February, or do you want to? It would be later in the month. It'd be the fourth Wednesday, or would you like to do one earlier before we have the other feedback sessions? Or do you want to just attend the other feedback sessions?
Well,
I'm going to be gone most of the month of March, and I know we're going to be in Japan, so I don't think I can attend the meetings from Japan, but maybe Susan does it, so maybe I can.
She does.
we can have
I'm
a
sure that's what
special-
you want to do while you're on your Japanese trip, is attend our bylaws meeting.
Well, that might not be too inaccurate, but anyway, just a heads up. So I'll get someone from the committee to attend
Okay,
in my place.
that'd be
Because we're
great.
Plenty of
That'd be great.
expertise on our committee.
Yeah. Chris, what do you think?
What were the options again? You said extending our February
Executive board
session?
meeting? Yeah.
Yeah,
That would be the 25th.
Or having a special feedback session before we have the regular feedback sessions. We're thinking of a first feedback session would be on this February 17th. So having something like after the membership meeting sometime that week. Later on, probably the week of February 10th or something like that, having the executive board one, or we could just wait until after the other feedback sessions are done and have it with the board meeting, which would be, well, the last Wednesday in February. So it'd be after the other two. Or you could just
Okay.
attend our regular ones if you wanted to pick like the first one on February 17th, for example.
I think somebody also mentioned March 14th as a possible meeting
So
time,
that-
and
That would be the actual membership meeting to adopt everything.
okay,
So
I-
like back in 2 years ago, we had a special membership meeting to adopt the bylaws in May. And then last year
Yeah.
we had a special membership meeting to adopt the new policies, procedures, and references, and then do the bylaws amendments also in May. And then this year we're hoping to be ahead of the game and do it in March.
okay. My February is pretty open, so yeah, I can meet February whenever you decide.
My thought is, if if you're being so, open about this whole process, and people in general have had many opportunities to log on and join the subcommittee meetings, and I don't anticipate a ton of people at these
No, I don't either.
at these meetings, particularly the Tuesday night one. And that's not to disparage anything that's happening in the committee. That is a compliment to how thorough everything has been and how open and transparent everything has been. I would prefer to just myself join on the 17th. And instead of scheduling another executive board meeting, aside from the one we have on the 25th, or extending that one for another hour, I would be happy to just sit in on the 17th, or if the rest of us could get together and at least commit to either the 17th or the 21st. I think that would be a good way to do it.
Sounds good to me. How about Ran and Chris? What do you think?
Yeah, that should work for me.
Excuse me, I had a guest walk into the room, so I was
Yeah.
a
Oh,
little bit
problem.
out of touch there.
Ran, we
So-
were just discussing, instead of scheduling a separate executive board meeting, feedback session for policies and procedures, having the executive board members join either the 17th or the 21st of February.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
I think that's very doable.
So would the 17th work? That would be a Tuesday night normally we do that at 7 when we've done these in the past, but would that work, or would you prefer this Saturday one? And subcommittee members, Michael and Tom, feel free to say what you prefer too, because we haven't discussed it as a committee yet on setting these dates.
The 17th looks open on my humble calendar.
That's fine with me. Tommy?
Well, I said it's fine, but I didn't look at my calendar, so give me a second.
Nancy, this is February 17th,
Yes.
Tuesday? Okay.
Yes. Does that work okay for you, Chris?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Great. All I have is
Tom?
it's garbage day, but that's at 7.
Okay.
It's garbage day, but yeah, I do actually have a conflict that day. I've got a CERT meeting at 6:00.
Oh, then there'd be a number of people then who would be having a conflict. Okay, so let's move that one. So let me just look. I had a conflict on the 18th because we usually do things, and I have a conflict on the 19th. You
I
know,
could say
before
you
we've
don't
done
need-
some on
you
a
don't need
Friday
me.
night. What's that? No, we need you. Yeah, no, we need you. So what about the night of the 20th? It's a Friday night, but we've had good attendance in the past on Friday nights.
Sure.
And then we have the next day on the 21st for those who can't make the Friday night. Any
Yeah.
conflicts with Friday night, the 20th? I know everybody really wants to be doing bylaws stuff on a Friday night, but
Laney and Marina.
what's
Chris
that?
has a Chris has a conflict.
Finn's gonna be so excited to see. Okay, I was
Perfect.
gone again. Laney and Marina just showed up and I didn't know what it was. The
Oh.
dog was barking.
Oh,
So did we move it?
well, we're not sure. Did you say Chris has a conflict?
Yeah, I have a conflict both on the 20th and 21st. I'll be out of town.
Okie doke. What about the 16th? Well, it's President's Day.
Doesn't matter. Works for me.
I do have a fire department drill that night from 5 to 7.
Okay. Well, why don't we do Monday night, the 23rd, or Tuesday night, the 24th? And then the first one would be on the 21st in the morning, Saturday in the morning, but that doesn't work for Chris. So what do you guys think about, we just have the second one? Are there any conflicts? This is really helpful because I think it's important.
23rd
A lot
is-
of the same people are doing the, the fire department stuff and the emergency preparedness.
The 23rd, I have the community plan meeting at 4.
On
But
the 23rd?
What
Oh,
about
I
the-
didn't get that on the calendar. Okay, thank you. How about the 24th? Tuesday, the 24th, February 24th.
uh,
That works for me.
that looks good for me.
Okay,
For Chris, it depends on what time. I've got a conflict from 5 to 7.
normally we do 7, but you wouldn't have a lot of
Okay.
time in between.
I should be able to make that work.
Okay, or, I mean, the 25th is our executive board meeting, so we want to
That
just
works
tap
too.
onto that. So if that's the case, I think, who was it that couldn't do Friday night? Chris.
Chris,
So if we were going to go ahead and do our special one on the 25th, just extend it into the executive board meeting, we could go ahead and do the 2 feedback sessions on the night of the 20th and the morning of the 21st, if the rest of the subcommittee is available. And why don't we just plan on doing this as part of the executive board meeting then?
Okay.
Okay, so
I don't know.
that's the Friday, the 20th at 7 PM, is that correct?
Right,
Okay, and then Saturday morning at 9 or
at
something?
9:30.
9:30, okay, that's
That's
fine with me.
right.
Yeah, that works.
I mean, we could do 10 if that would be better on Saturday morning. I don't think it's going to take that long. Maybe we just do 10. Okay, and then, so I'll go ahead and do that. And then I'll discuss those with the committee, but March 14th is kind of the key one that we need to be able to announce, and that would be for the special membership meeting at 9:30 on the 14th. Would that work?
yes.
Okay,
March.
great.
7th.
Any objections? March
And
14th.
March
You and I
14th.
had talked about that one, Alex. I think you
Yeah.
said as long as it was at 9:30, you'd be okay with it, but
I can do that.
that was a while back, so.
No, I had that on my schedule as something happening in the morning. That's the night
Oh,
event that I have in Amity, but I'll stay.
that's right. That's right. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. So I guess if there are no objections, we'll just go ahead and set that one on the 14th, and then we'll have I'll try to keep it brief. I'll send out something ahead of time that you can read that's pretty brief with the changes, and you could go into the document and see what you want to look at more fully, and then hopefully we could minimize the time. And then I'll contact each of you individually about the job description stuff for your respective jobs. Because particularly you, Chris, I've got some stuff in there that I want you to be able to comment
Okay.
on. I don't think there's much of a change for the chair, vice chair we did a few changes for secretary, and I don't think there's a change much for the community plan. I think it's the same. And the bylaws committee, I think, is the same. Parliamentarian's the same. So, but yeah, Alex, regarding parliamentarian, if you wanted to appoint someone like Michael to be parliamentarian under you, then for all the meetings, then you can do that. Or it's up to you completely on whether you want to or not. But
Great.
that's up to you.
Instead of doing that meeting by meeting.
Correct.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up anyway. It's customary and appropriate to do that once a year for the term, unless there's a change in leadership, and then you do it again.
Oh, great.
Yeah, because, bottom line, Alex, parliamentarian serves at your discretion. Always.
Well, you're always top of the list. So and we can save that 20 seconds compounded over.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
We can travel. Great.
Well, I'm not used to your answer. What I'm used to is a new faculty president. Oregon State University gets down on his knees and pleads. Please, please, please.
Someone please do this.
No, he usually does me, at least for the last 25 years, that's been the case. Who in the world are we going to do a replacement?
So I think that's the end of our report though, Alex. So
Okay, great. Thank you, Nancy.
and thank you all for your input on this.
Yeah, we've got 4 dates on the calendar, 2 feedback sessions, an executive board meeting plus feedback session, and then the 14th. So
Right.
that's a good string of events culminating in the 14th. That's exciting.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great. So Rand, do you have anything? I know we had you had, I wasn't able to join, but the community plan meeting earlier this week.
Yes. And also, as far as Candace helping me figure out how to do things, and Nancy helping me try to figure out how to do things, I haven't been very successful in being able to do things despite my tutors. And so that work still needs to be done. And that's as far as that's gotten. The community plan subcommittee took up this week road maintenance, beach accesses, parking in the village, and we had the assistance of Chris Laity from the Department of Public Works and Sarah to help us figure out what elements of the proposed section on those was going to go in the plan and what was simply going to be in references and appendix. Tom stood by again as everything went up in the air and came back down in some kind of form. And we've left it to Sarah and Chris, who volunteered to process that outside of the meeting and come back and say, this belongs here and this belongs there. And this information probably will never see the light of day, or maybe it's in the back somewhere. So we have patiently been trying to understand what is the appropriate way to handle that subject, given the future is unknown for people taking care of their own streets or the county taking care of the streets or some combination of those two. And I didn't come up yesterday, but I know that the Community Association is seeing that it may have the means to do some things. And also we're, to help support infrastructure improvements. And that group may be asking for the NCAC to sign on to that, to go to the highway department and different places like that. So I kind of see a glimmer of hope as to how all these different organizations and agencies can come to terms with highway safety in the long run. And as far as the county roads and how things are financed and how they get done, that remains to take shape in kind of a conceptual form for the plan. It's a little bit of treading water going on right now. We did get the committee members to commit to pouring through the document at this point in time and reading it well enough to say, I would approve this. You know, anything that's has been stated but doesn't have a clear path that connects it with policy or safety or something clearly, it's going to have to either be explained or taken out. So it's a kind of down in the weeds time for us. And I would ask Tom to provide a perspective on it also, because he's the editor and he's watching this madness and going, how is this gonna No, I'll let him speak for himself. But Tom, you want to share a perspective on it?
Yeah, mine's slightly different than yours in that I believe that rather than having the transportation-oriented things just go off into nothingness, the plan is to incorporate that into the county's transportation plan. The community plan is a land use plan, and transportation isn't land use.
Right.
So that's the fundamental problem with us having particulars in the community plan. However, we can have general statements like we would like to have this rather than specific kinds of things. So it's a general philosophic statements we could have in the community plan. But if we start getting specific, like having overpasses over the skyways over the highway, that's not appropriate for a land use document.
Correct.
Since it does have a home elsewhere.
Right. And that's great clarity, Tom, because that's what Sarah and Chris were saying there. I don't think we've been aware that there is the development of a transportation plan going on. None of us have heard of that.
Nope.
And potentially Mark knew about it, but might have gotten lost in the, various communications. But we will be the focus of the transportation group April 8th, and that is a time that we can bring our questions forward and postulate. I mean, we NESCO and had the Princeton grad students come and provide incredible engineering proposals for crossing the highway and getting to the 90-foot mark. So who knows, that might even revive and go in here as something that has potential. But the other piece of this is however these get documented, they become great fodder for writing grants, and the community plan especially, but when you see that the county might sign on for aspiring to some of these things, there may be funds that follow up because they are in these documents. It becomes valuable for grant writing and seeking other forms of capitalization. So it's a very interesting thing I didn't anticipate, but I'm really glad that Sarah and Chris got involved and can help guide us and kind of illuminate. Chris is probably going to be scheduled to come speak to the NCAC. It could be for that meeting in March or after. There's a lot going on at that meeting, but to explain how the funds are used and what the priorities are, and some things that we think they can do, and they're absolutely held by state law they can't do. So it was an interesting and illuminating conversation, and as Tom's indicated, something will come out of it that will be valuable for our community plan.
And one thing that was brought out is that being very specific in our language actually might shut off some potential grant money. If we call something the wrong thing, we could actually wind up not being able to base a grant based on that language. So we have to be creatively vague in areas.
Right. So that will be borne out. They said they would provide a white paper to help indicate how so we'll have a document to go from rather than just a conversation as to where to put what.
Yep.
And that was mostly what this meeting was about.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So any questions, or is that vague enough for this meeting?
Well, so Nancy talked to Chris either after the fact or during the meeting, and as you predicted, I believe we may be skipping ahead to next regular meeting planning agenda item, but it does look like he is available to come to our regular membership meeting. So
In February, yeah.
in February. So that'll be great because it sounds like his presentation was detailed and covered a lot and a lot to talk about.
Right. And we'll publish the notes. Tethering this back to an earlier thing that Nancy mentioned, as far as taking notes, I've started using the Zoom AI thing to summarize a meeting, and it does a very good job with it. And besides spelling and a couple other really small things or things that don't need to be there that are reported in it, it's a pretty effective way to get minutes that are accurate and don't require too much effort on the part of the in this case, I guess myself, and then I have Lynn Saxon is willing to pour over it after I've looked at it, because I have it, I open it and it comes to me, so then I can forward it to her after I've corrected a few things, and she can see if she finds anything else, and it's pretty much ready to go. So it's a pretty good mechanism for these meetings.
With the
Go ahead, Bill.
exception that we agreed to call out the action items at the top so that people can have a ready reference for action items.
And we will include the attendance, which I thought, since it showed me on the screen who was there, it would include it, but in the verbiage, it included almost everyone, but I added the guest and Nancy because I didn't get that. So that's one thing you have to track, is just who was attending, and then as Tom said. So anyway, that's another tool that can help lessen the secretary's work if we publish our own minutes, and that's reasonable, I think.
Yeah, and I have a friend who said you can really do a great job with the Google AI. If you take the transcript and throw it in and say, please do minutes according to Robert's Rules of Order for this transcript. And she said they turn out really well. So I'm going to try that with these minutes and see how it does. I'm kind of excited about that. So, and compare it then to the Zoom AI, because I would be interested in seeing it too. I've seen it in the past. I think it's gotten better because I know I'm a secretary for another organization, and it used to be awful. So now it sounds like it's gotten better. Because I thought the minutes that were from your meeting were largely quite good. So I mean, I hadn't been at the previous one to really know, but both you and Lynn felt like they accurate.
Yeah. So that's very helpful. Okay.
So Michael, maybe we need to do some the AI companion for you. For bylaws, I don't think we get it for us. I need to figure out how to get that started. We have the transcript, but not the AI.
You don't think we get what?
The AI companion.
Oh, yeah.
So
Okay.
I mean, they need to talk with you, Alex or Ran, on how you get that going. So, okay. Anyway. So
We'll see what it kicks out. I turned it on for this meeting before hitting record, so we'll see what form it's what kind of content it gives us.
Yeah.
And
Whatever they are, they do need to be reviewed
Yeah.
closely
Oh, yeah.
by somebody. Yeah, because
Definitely.
we've discovered some
Funny
very amusing changes
Yes.
in wording.
Yes, well, sometimes maybe it's worth leaving them in there. So
I
you said
know,
like
that's
reading.
that's true.
Uh,
Well, thank you, Ren. Let's see, next up, we have two items that I put on the agenda that I don't think we have any discussion on. One is the outreach task force. I saw Susan at the whatever we're calling the Nesquin General Store these days. And she did say she wasn't going to be able to make it. And she was still looking for people, particularly she's looking at the Slab Creek neighborhood, quote unquote neighborhood, because it's so decentralized. It's one of the issues she's having is with some of these neighborhoods that don't have a central point, or that are kind of strung out along a road instead of the village, finding a place to post anything, or even finding someone who feels comfortable being the point person. So that's one of the things she's looking at. So if we know anyone on the greater Slab Creek area that wants to be the outreach task force point person, Susan would love to hear some suggestions. But that even hesitate to call it a neighborhood, but that stretch is hard because it's just one long road that goes for 3 miles or more. And that's all she had for us as an update. And then the secretary discussion, Nancy, you had mentioned that there is someone who might be interested, and that kind of ties into our AI, summary discussion. If we can find a way to summarize these minutes in Robert's Rules format through whatever this Zoom AI gives us, then that might go a long ways to
Mhm.
making that position a little more attractive.
Yeah, I think so.
But believe it or not, no one has stood up and said, "Hey, make me the secretary." And Jeff is not moving back, as far as we know. So
No, he's definitely not.
yeah.
How can we lure him? We
And so-
we thought of some of them, but we haven't asked them yet because they just retired like 2 weeks ago. So it seems kind of cruel to nail them immediately, but we have somebody
Oh,
in
yeah.
mind. We're gonna try.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, give them a full month of retirement before
I think so.
you rope them in. Okay, well that's potentially good news for the future.
Cross your fingers. Okay.
So I we can talk about the February 7th meeting. So we did move that up 1 week because of Valentine's Day. As romantic as it would have been to start our day with a regular meeting. And I did post the agenda online, which doesn't differ much from previous regular meeting agendas. One discussion I talked to Nancy this morning about Chris Lady presenting. And so I had previously talked to Guy about the water district presenting. He was interested in coming in and giving a presentation on some of the things that are happening in the water district. The big item being replacing the water main under the Butte Creek under 101, which has to happen by May before they can do a good chunk of their work. And it sounds like our water district is on the hook for the entire water main replacement there. But he said, it's a potential, and it does sound like roads has a lot more to talk about even. So we did go ahead and slot them into the guest speaker role for the February meeting. So we'll have Chris coming on.
That's great. And one of the things that Chris had mentioned is, and Sarah had mentioned, is that we had been invited back in July, although I don't think I wasn't aware of it, what the Calyx was, to participate in apparently once every 20-year project to have a roads plan, and it may be more than a roads plan, but to develop that under Chris Lady's group. And we don't have anybody, but they said it's not too late. So if we wanted to, as a board, to appoint somebody, sound like one or two people to represent the NCAC on that, we could do it. And so
That's-
Alex and I had talked a little bit about, maybe they could find somebody who are doing the midnight pavers who might be interested, or, and have that knowledge, who could be part of that team.
That's the same group that's the same document we're talking about in terms of where some of our information should probably live.
Right. So that would be another topic, because they're having a meeting for Nescoin people only on April
8th.
8th from 5 to 8 p.m. over Teams or Zoom. It's a virtual meeting. So apparently they're doing it through all the different CACs, but we're the only one that's only going to be Nescoin. So by having Chris come out for the February meeting, then we can let people know about that meeting, but also they'll probably have some meetings to prepare. It'd be nice for us to be able to have somebody before our February 7th meeting to appoint at that meeting. So it was a really interesting meeting that you guys had, the community plan on Monday, and all that stuff came out.
Yeah, I'm glad you were there to hear it. Other witnesses to the event.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Oh, he just gives, if the video, I'm sure Ken will be putting the video up soon, but it's so worthwhile meeting to look at. I always might run at 1.5 speed, but Chris had all sorts of interesting information.
Yeah.
Hey, Alex, this is Chris. I had a question on something you had mentioned earlier on the
Yeah.
calendar. You said something was moved from February 14th to February 7th, but I thought we landed on a special membership meeting on the 14th. Is that still the case?
So that is March 14th. That's the special membership meeting for the bylaws, policies and procedure.
Okay, so we have two. Okay, so February 14th falls on a Saturday, and so does March 14th. Got it.
Yeah, because February has 28 days, so it's always the same
Okay,
day. So we the February meeting, the one that got moved from the 14th was the regular membership meeting, which we moved a week early, so it didn't fall on Valentine's Day.
And also
Okay.
it's President's Day weekend, so we thought a 3-day weekend might be hard to get people there.
Okay.
And then
the membership meeting is at 9 a.m. Is that right?
10, I think.
10.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then also at 10 a.m. in March, we're talking about on the 14th, that is the special membership meeting for the feedback session.
Right, on March 14th.
And I thought you wanted that at 9:30. I thought, Alex, is 10 okay? to have that?
10 will also work.
Well,
Okay.
okay. I'll change that then. Cool.
And the Feb 7th is the general meeting. Got it. Okay, thanks.
Yeah. And that does Nancy and Tom, that does wrap up a good amount of the work on the policies and procedures. Is that right? I mean, that's kind of the
We're hoping to be done for the
finish
year.
line. Yeah.
No more, other
I'm
than
not-
getting it through the county.
Yeah.
I'm not overly optimistic we'll have archiving figured out by then. So
Yeah.
that's going to be a holdover. Other than that, it should be complete.
Wow.
Right. We don't plan to work the rest of this year, but I guess we could. We're not planning to go back to the membership the rest of this year, but I guess that could always change. But you have to leave something for the subcommittee to do next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, the archiving may absolutely have to wait. We'll
Well,
see.
we've got another once in 20-year project on the roads side, so we can transition
Correct.
to into that.
Right.
Oh, God.
Okay, great. So the that was the main outstanding item on the agenda for the February 7th regular meeting. I imagine there's going to be a good amount of discussion from subcommittee on letting people know kind of what the schedule is and giving an outline of what to expect in the next month and a half. Since Chris will be talking about the roads, I don't know if he's going to be mentioning specifically Slab Creek, but I know there's a good amount of work and issues on Slab Creek as well. Rand, you probably know the most about that. If
Yes,
it
I have to
hasn't fallen
call,
into the creek yet.
I have to call Chris periodically and say, I think you better look at this.
Yeah.
And he'll send a guy down like within 12 hours. He'll have somebody out there looking at it because
And don't park over it and look down.
pull over to check
Yeah.
it out. So yeah, there's some issues and I think that the bridge, all the bridges are set to get rebuilt on Slab Creek this summer. And the Watershed Council is trying to get a box culvert for the salmon run that's at mile marker 1. So I know that he's going to be involved with that too. They're trying to get acceptance of that so that they can get the grant money that would fund that. So that all that timing is a little complicated. So Chris is a busy guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that we want to talk about, that we want to just make sure gets on the agenda for that February 7th regular meeting?
I think I'd probably want to have about the same amount of time that we just did today, but 10 to 15 minutes to go through the bylaws stuff, just to give people a heads up.
Great.
So more than we've been doing. But you're
Yeah,
right.
I'll-
I mean,
Put you down for 20.
okay. I don't think we need 20, but
Then
probably
when
15.
you end at 15, people are going to be like, well, that was great.
Okay. All right. Okay. You do that. You do that, Alex.
Just in case.
You're
Just-
good. You're good. All right.
And I
But
think for us, there'll be a lot going on with the road thing, but we're after all your work is done on the bylaws, we'll be getting into the public meetings about the community plan in the spring. At least that's what my fingers are crossed for. And so it'll be a whole nother, so we won't try and overlay those
Right.
two. We'll just wait till you're done, because you're close, and then we'll start our bevy of public meetings and hope we can get people pumped up about it.
well, yours are going to
Oh,
be
we don't
probably
want
more
them-
interesting for most people, but I appreciate that. We've been trying very hard to not getting in your way. It
you
sounds
bet.
like it's worked out well. So
It has, it has.
Pumped up is probably not good.
Really agitated.
No, like we are all pumped up,
Yeah.
we're all excited about our gym
We,
work.
we did that with the bylaws and it was a long time getting over that.
Mhm.
it worked out well though. Getting
It did,
we
eventually.
worked through it, and now no one comes, so that's good. No.
That's why we have to get sufficiently vague in order to have everyone agree.
Mm-hmm.
Right. We can all sit back and laugh now.
Right. Okay.
And I can follow up with you, Ran, on the phone number, on the email thing. So
Okay.
I'll try to walk you through it. I'll try.
Does Alex know how to do it?
The
Do you know how to do all these, put these things in the folder and put
I
your,
know,
have a phone number attached to your email so that you can have us, I don't even know how I have two emails. That sounds maddening, but anyway, Alex and I can get together
Oh,
reasonably
okay.
easily
Yeah.
if he knows how to do it. Because
Sure.
over
You
the
can do it
phone
in
doesn't work
person.
very well.
Well,
Yeah.
and we're talking about setting up a specific email for each committee head, and yeah. So
Right.
in theory, I know how to do that. I haven't run through that process with Candace or anyone for the NCAC, but
Yeah. Basically, the secretary keeps the passwords and but can give you the password so you can send email out. But you just set up a separate email client in
Yeah.
a separate email. Yeah.
and it's hosted
Yeah. Go ahead.
the Gmail.
Yeah.
Yeah, hosted account. So we can do that. There is always confusion when you tie a phone number to an email, because once in a while you'll text from your email and then you'll text from your phone number and it ends up in different threads.
Yeah.
Places you don't even know.
Yeah.
We're
I've
not tying a phone number to an
Okay,
email.
great.
Yeah.
Good.
No,
I've got
that's not
about
happening.
6 different threads with the same 7 people, depending on
Oh,
if we're sending to someone's email or phone number. But as long as it's just setting up separate emails, I can
Yeah.
troubleshoot with that.
Thank
yeah,
you.
great. Yeah, it's pretty simple. It's like NCAC chairperson at, NCAC vice chairperson at, NCI community plan at, blah, blah, blah. So it's a simple format. It's in our references document now.
Great.
And Candace leaped ahead. I was really, wow. So.
Right.
So, okay. So I won't worry about that, Rand. Holler if you need it, but otherwise, you'll be working with
Try and
Alex
capture.
and Candace.
I'll check in and I'll email Candace and just, run through the same process for
Right.
chairperson. And
Perfect.
And in theory, we'll be able to troubleshoot when it'll be at the very least in the land of the blind, the one-eyed person
There you go.
can
That's
help
great.
out. Okay, so any more discussion on February 7th meeting agenda? Great. And the last thing I did talk to Nancy about agendas in general, and we do have the ability to just edit the agenda up until, through the start of the meeting. But I will do my best to have it posted in the document with a, R1 now once I edit it.
The
Document.
only other thing is that it's now time for elections for the two that are in place, the vice chair and treasurer.
Yep.
So I think in the bylaws, it says something about names being submitted for at the February membership meeting, but we're still dealing with 2 vacancies. So I don't think we have to worry about that, but you could certainly mention something about all that's open and then doing everything at the April meeting or something.
And it's vice chair and treasurer, is that right?
Correct.
Open spots.
For the 2-year term, and then 1-year terms for the chair and the chairperson and the secretary.
Well, pretty much every position is open. We're still going, but every position is open should anyone decide to jump in. Great. Okay. And now we're at public comment. If there are any members of the public that have been sitting behind you or next to you at home that want to jump in and comment.
My puppy is here and is bugging me about dinner. So
okay, a public comment.
You can put that in the minutes.
Okay, excellent. Well, that sums it up. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
that was
Alex.
great and
Thank
informative.
you, Alex.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Alex.
it.
Thanks, everything, everybody.
Okay.
All right, well, we will see you at the next, I think there's a board, do you have a bylaws meeting next week, right, Nancy?
We have one on February 6th. So yes, I guess that is next week.
That is
Yes,
next week, yeah.
Just
that is
for
next
the,
week.
Yeah,
Friday, February 6th at 9:00.
okay, wonderful.
And I'll talk to Candace about getting a meeting folder up. I have it, but she seems to do it month by month. So
Okay.
uh,
I saw
hopefully-
today that there was an update. It seemed like the upcoming meetings were updated either today or yesterday. So
oh, okay, great. I'll send her a link to my folder. I think she was going to look.
great.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. Well, wonderful to see you all. And winter weather has returned, so we can all get inside and work off the sunburns that we've had over the last 21 days of sun.
Okay, bye-bye, folks.
All right, bye,
Bye,
guys.
Michael. Bye, everybody.